We're live.
Okay.
Good afternoon. Happy New Year 2023. And it's a wonderful thing. It's good feelings that when you want to join a new year, uh, maybe because of the time one has spent, even though I want to spend more time, but an average human being will start thinking, hey, Ọlọ́run jẹ́ kí n make it, jẹ́ kí n make it next year. Àgàgà tó bá di 31st. And when you realize that many people, they do not make it. And that is the truth. That is reality. That is life for you. Uh, so our time making, we cannot take it for granted. We cannot think it could be a moshi. I want to make it. Well, maybe time won't to me. Then I'd rather come back money pay wherever they are. Kọ́lọ́run kó gbé wọn sí ibi tó dáa. Àwa tá a dẹ̀ make ẹ̀ kí a ṣoríire ká fi new year, every new year la máa ń gbàdúrà pé ká fi ṣeré. It takes me, I want to quickly say this before I introduce uh, my guest today. There's a voice note tí mo gbọ́ pé every year la máa ń propose, la máa ń sọ pé a máa ní new, ohun tí wọ́n ti sọ pé restitution ni, she used the word restitution. I believe it's, some people will say resolutions, but that's fine. Kò sẹ́ni tó ń ka English mọ́. New resolution has always been in vogue for many years now. New year yìí máa ṣègbà, máa ṣàwo, mi ní báyàwó mi jà, mi ní bọ́kọ mi jà, mi ní náà ọmọ mi mọ́ mi ṣègbà. I want to build a house. I want to increase the volume of my income. So many things. In most cases, I said you end up still the last 30, 40, 50 years, still not doing what you have planned to do. Well, again, that is life. Now, this year, I have said to myself that I want to make loads and loads of changes in my broadcasting outfit. It for me is a passion. It's a thing of joy. It's the only thing at my age that I can do. Tinu mi náà máa dùn yín pé, well, look, I'm still there. Olúwa gbàdúrà gbogbo wa. So ọdún ayọ̀ ló máa jẹ́. Ní eléyìí ṣe àṣemọ. Olúwa dá àwọn ọmọ wa sí, á gbàdúrà gbogbo wa. Ní ṣe àṣetì. A máa ríra bá lọ́dọọdún. So gbogbo ohun tí a bá dẹ̀ ń wà, Olúwa á gbà fún wa. Now, let me quickly go to my guest. My guest is saying, not, I don't know how best to put it. He's a part of my blood. He is a student of, he was studying medicine to the fourth year. Then I think he's going to tell us more about that. Then from nowhere, he now turned around and said, well, he couldn't cope. Then he decided to switch his course at, I think, OAU, and then ended up getting distinction in what he did. I'm not trying to overrate him because he's my nephew. It's because I know that all the qualification he has, he worked for it, he deserved it, and he got it right. So let's quickly go to his name. His name is Daniel Oseni. And for those of you who want to start challenging how his Oseni is written and how mine is written, because I can imagine the minds of Oseni. Yes, I can tell you, is the last son of my late brother, Mr. Oseni, of the same father, same mother. So he's my nephew, and also playing the role of Omo, typical, the way we operate in our country. So, Daniel Oseni, Happy New Year to you. How are you doing today? Uh, wish our viewers Happy New Year and tell us a little bit about yourself.
Happy New Year, Uncle, and Happy New Year to all your teaming viewers, and to be a very successful, a more accomplishing year for everyone. I pray that the resolutions, as you have said earlier, that many will make for this new year, God will give them the strength to bring it to fulfillment. Having said that, Uh, any year that resolutions were made, definitely there will be challenges. And it is how to handle those challenges or the tasks before you for those years that will determine the success that you enjoy out of it. So my prayer is we will have the strength, the capability, or the renewal of strength for us all to achieve our goals, desires, aims, and objectives. And there is an ongoing one, apparently, that concerns those who are of my stock, which is the Yoruba stock in Nigeria. It seems the fanfare now is for this particular group of people for us to actualize nationhood. Òdùduwà á gbè wá o, Ọlọ́run á lè fún wa ṣe.
Yeah, in my introduction, I said that I know you right from birth. I always look back to when you are socky, when you are crawling, and I remember I left Nigeria when you are just about I think 4 years or whatever. Because when I look at my journey of 53 years ago, so it's about right with your age. Am I right?
Yes, I'm
Now,
actually correct.
and tell us a little bit about your background up to your university education level.
Okay. I was born in Lagos. I grew up in Lagos. I studied in Hours Memorial Grammar School and went further to have a first year in University of Lagos, then later changed to Obafemi Awolowo University, Ife. I had a 4 year study of pursuing medicine in Obafemi Awolowo University. But I encountered problems in clinicals. I discovered in study that I cannot take challenge of the blood, particularly excessive gush of bloods and all that. So I took an option to uh, get out of medicine and surgery study. Then I went to study agric economics. So I graduated from IFE, having a bachelor degree in agric economics. I proceeded to University of Lagos to have masters. Then did my second masters in UK at Southbank University. I had masters of business um, administration. So I had masters in finance rather from Southbank University. Then did another master's at Leeds Metropolitan University. So, and since I've been in United Kingdom, I've worked with many corporations, many businesses. I've worked with Cisco. I've worked with
I remember next.
Next, yes. Those are my early working experience. I worked with Nest, then I've worked with the NHS, and well, I'm currently working with Iceland. Yeah, because I now basically I'm involved in project management.
Mm.
So currently that's what I do.
Very impressive. Impressive in the sense that we Nigerians, we are well known for pursuing education at different odd and normal levels,
Yes,
and we are not done until when we get when we get to the high level of that particular area of interest.
yeah,
And I remember very well that I have a friend, but the way it is, he's a professor in America. He gets a PhD every other two weeks. So he has more than 20 something PhDs now, and there's so many other like that. Now, again, I I want to take you on a couple of things. Let's start with the local. Before I continue, viewers, do me a favor. I know a lot of people do that, even though I put it on the screen. Help me share this program. Share just for others to see and learn, and maybe take decision on some other things they want to do in this new year, and also love it, and most importantly, click on the notification button. So when else I come out, this year is going to be, for me, it's going to be bounty year. I'm feeling great health wise, and I don't think it's going to pay me quick conjoko imagine. So there are a lot of things I've outlined that I'm going to do. One of them I can let you know is to draw up a family tree. I'll be family,
The family tree.
a family tree. So anytime me, I'm trying to let you know that you can also do it. It's a challenge for me, but I'm going to work on it and if I achieve it. Shagun, as you are growing, you know very well that when you grow in Nigeria, you know there are certain things that are not right in terms of governance. I'm going to be with you. How, what experience do you have with governance, good one or bad one, Nigeria? Tell us.
Oh, well, um, I believe governance is about people.
Hmm.
Uh, and it does not happen in isolation. The people, they deserve the governance that they get
Hmm.
because only in few circumstances will you have governance arising or governing over people who are not of their own stock, who are not of their own descent. The days of the colonial era, that was prevalent. We have people from distant land coming to Africa, taking possession of how to govern their lives and teaching or dictating to them how their lives should be maintained.
Hmm.
The euphoria of independence that rocked the most African uh, territories in the 60s and made most of them independent nations drove away this idea of governance, either by proxy or by actually being there, enforcing other people's statutes, uh, values, or customs and their tradition upon a different human stock. Now, coming home to Nigeria, Nigeria was independent in 1960. It became a republic in 1963. Unfortunately, I was not born at those times. I was born in 1969. As at that time, 69, till sometime around 75, I was actually still a very young toddler. I was a toddler.
Oh,
So,
sorry. Then sorry to interrupt you. That means you are just again when people will forgive me. That means you are just about a year or 2 years when I left, because I
yes,
left 1970.
yes.
Oh, okay. Well,
So I can accurately give a personal account of what the political environment of those days were.
hmm.
But that's the beauty of history. There are those who are able to document the events, which became part of what we study in primary school and secondary school as social studies and civil studies, so that we were accustomed to how Nigeria became independent, those who were involved, processes that were involved, and how to cherish the moment of those days. Fast forward to our time, When I say our time, I'm talking of
Mm.
80s, when I had become teenager, and I'm not even teenager. I was already in my 20s. So where I could, I mean late 80s, where I could distinguish and have capabilities to make decisions. In comparing to the present time of Nigeria as far back as maybe 2010, 2015, as God has given me the abundance of seeing those times, there have been magnificent difference in how Nigerians' affairs have been conducted. I'm a student of economics. I understand certain vagaries could happen in life, particularly economics saying all things being equal. In most cases, not all things can be equal. So sometimes you hold certain variables, certain factors fixed, and you could toy or change others. So these dynamics do happen in every society. But consistently, Nigerians having a burgeoning population, to some, such burgeoning population is a burden, because what they will probably tell you is the time of old where you are talking Nigeria was prosperous, maybe the population was around 20 million, 25, or at max 50 million. That the number of people that Nigeria needs to cater for right now will be around 100 to 200 million. So you cannot compare the problems associated with 50 million people to that of the 200 million people. Be as factual as that will be, it will be insolent on anyone to think that a big population is actually a burden if they're not looking at such population as being an asset for labor-intensive development, an asset for popular training that could involve that labor in galvanizing economic development. I wouldn't say economic growth, economic development. Some people focus on growth. Galvanizing economic development. I wouldn't say economic growth, economic development. Some people focus on growth. Galvanizing economic development. I wouldn't say economic growth, economic development. Some people focus on galvanizing economic development. I would say economic growth, economic development. Some people focus on galvanizing economic development. I would say economic growth, economic development. Some people focus on growth.
Sorry about that. There's a mix of. Go on, Shegun.
Okay. So, but essentially, today, I think Nigeria is faced with many problems. Major among them is people find it difficult to sustain their economic space, living, ordinary living, that's bringing food to the table, the assurance that that food will be available for the next meal had been a major concern. That has been made more even troublesome. That is, it has exacerbated because those who peradventure find that food have desires to make sure that the continuous provision of that food can be assured for them, leading them to do many untoward things. That's what we simply call corruption. Somebody trying to steal as much, because if you look at corruption, the root of it is actually fear of running back into poverty. If there is poverty that is prevalent, those who probably feel they escaped it need to have an assurance that that escape is proof tight, it's rubber tight proof that this I can't go back to it. And there's no way they can do that if they cannot assure that the continuous flow of that income or the stashing away of that income that will assure that their continued feeding or clothing, housing is assured. So that had been the bane of Nigeria. And for that reason, many have reasoned as well that it has become a leadership problem. That is, if you have a leader if you have leadership group who cannot turn around the fortune of the nation, given the resources the nation have. And when I talk of resources here, it's not limited to simply just natural resources, because I discovered that in many discussions, when you talk of resources with Nigerians, they are usually centered on tangible resources that, like petroleum products, like timber, like uh, agricultural products and all that. That's where the mind goes, and that Nigeria has it in abundance. And there is another word that usually I try to, it has been a source of research for me in the past maybe 9 years now, not maybe, precisely 9 years, going 10 now. Yeah. Is potential. Potential. Nigerians seems to have a very good romance with the word potential. Nigeria is a potential leader. Nigeria is a potential this. Nigeria is a potential that. Nigeria is a potential of that. And the potential to me had not actually turned into anything substantial. Rather,
And why is this? And why is that?
and it has remained a dream. And it's because the way it's actually been peddled is imagined. The emergence of that word in itself is not to translate it into action. The emergence of it itself is to placate. So it has achieved its purpose. The purpose is for you to feel good. That you have a potential to be good is just good enough to let you feel good, but nevertheless to make you good. So that is where it stopped, and that is what my research have shown, that the idea of saying Nigeria has a potential is enough for Nigerians to feel calm. So many were not even, the project itself was that for that purpose. It's just um, um, uh, an issue of nomenclature. You get it? It's just dropping the name and just using it for the people to feel calm about the situation. That was the project, and it was launched, it was achieved. Everyone will say Nigeria has got potential. I'm a Nigerian. My question will have been, what potential have I got that I've translated into energy that is producing or making things happen? How do that potential comes into action? That would be that should have been my resolve. It's not for me to say that Nigeria's got potential. Then I'm quite happy with it and said, okay, until we get somebody who can tap that potential. That's an excuse for eternity, that things should remain the same. You understand?
Yeah.
So, and I believe the problem of poverty had so much invaded that now it has come along with it other vices, because some people become deserious and they take into other actions to escape the poverty, crime particularly. We have seen an increase in banditry, robbery, extrajudicial killing, uh, uh, what is it called? Corruption, corrupt practices, uh, illegal enrichment, all manners of ways that people are now devising to make sure that they can escape this uh, quote and unquote humongous uh, monster called poverty.
Isn't that as a result of bad governance?
that is really subjective. It's really subjective to say it's part of governance. Because, like I said, those who
Result of bad governance.
no, it's subjective. Because I have seen those who goes into governance from position of don't have and get there to accumulate so much for themselves. I've seen those who have so much before going into governance and yet stop at nothing to still keep accumulating more for themselves. For that reason, then one get to question, how do you attribute all of that factors to governance and not to followers? Because the followers are no different from those who are governing them. If we remove the stock of those who are governing Nigeria today and replace them by not angels, Nigerians, we might get the worst bargain out of it as well.
You can take your call, Shegun. It's also part of the show. You can take your call. I mean, I don't have any restriction. You can get your caller to call you back, or you can quickly.
One moment.
Sure.
So, yeah, bad governance is, you see, the where I don't want to be entrapped is this. Sometimes when things become repeated to people, it becomes a lazy man's idea. Somebody who did not have a gainful employment, because it's been repeated to him again and again that your situation is caused by bad governance, will literally do nothing to enhance his status and just assume that things should fall in place. That because things are not falling in place, it's because there is a bad governance. Do you get what I'm saying now?
I do, but let me quickly interrupt you there. My understanding of the studies of governance all over the world is the government of a country has a primary preoccupation to set in motion, to set a structure to, even though the constitution of the country must have dictate that. But the point I'm trying to make against what we are saying is government is expected to have a kind of a template for the people, and like I said, primarily to protect lives and property, and also to create an economic environment. So for people of different means to be able to have access to livelihood. Of course, government will continue. Not that government is going to be Father Christmas until when you get to retirement age, but and they also even we get, it depends on how judiciously government of that country have invested your contribution towards that time. Not when in some African countries where the pension money is their target, they will steal it, in fact, dry. So nobody, the only money that will be left will be the pension of the former governors and so on and so on. So I want you to look at that point of that bad governance will create all sorts of corruption and all that kind of things. So I want you to put that into your discussion.
Yes, I agreed with that position, but what I'm enunciating is this: is a social decadence. It's a social system that government are put in place in any level, yeah, for purposes, federal, state, local, district, wherever they are. Yeah.
Mm.
Just like a family unit. You have a family unit where you have the mother, the father, the children. If they have a meeting, the father probably gives a decision on the direction of that family. But continuously, as time progresses, other directives come from the mother because she's the next very working closely with that father, saying the children needs to go to school, but the father might not know whether you would have to leave home at 8:15 or 7:45 or 7:25. But Monday to Friday, the children must be at school. So the mom now has to begin to adjust. When do I take A, B, C of the children? A goes to this school, or all of them goes to this school. What time of the day do we leave? So in the same vein, what I'm saying is, as governance, they are in place to assure that there is a smooth running of the society, there is security for lives and properties,
Yes.
and they can progress economic development of the life of citizenry. No government will come into place that does not want to do that. I have to be honest with you. That does not want to do that. It's not true. The only thing is, some of them might not know how to allocate the resources they have in doing it. Some of them might feel, okay, if you have £5,000, rather than buying new vehicle that would be taking children to school, we should stock their schools with no textbooks. And in doing so, there could be compromise of, it's because it's my younger brother or somebody that is related to me that is running the business of bookshop. That's why I wanted to spend that money that way. Eventually, if that spending does not justify what the society wants, it does not really progress the economic development of that system. But to say ab initio, they did not intend to do what is good will be, to me, a bit out of order. Other things, other interests, such as how do I fill my own pocket or take care of this or take care of that, could lower their deliveries of the good things to the populace to which they are governing. Yes, it has. But the essential thing is this, that in Nigeria, this has gone too long that it has become something more of accustomed to. That those who are even agitating, those who are crying now, if given the opportunity, right, are themselves, first and foremost, probably looking for a way to secure their own livelihood. So it's going to be a dream for everyone just to lie to the other that I can do it better, only for them to get there and say, I can only do it better for myself.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt you. Isn't that due to the kind of structure, kind of system in place that if one bad leader left and the next one also assume to continue bad leadership, isn't the structure and the system responsible for that?
Yes, to some extent, yes. However, uh, there have been instances where things were done rightly for this generation now were looked at in hindsight by another generation and felt it was a mistake. We are humans, we are dynamic, and we are ever evolving. The same is, the same is true for society as well. Society develops and it grows and it metamorphosizes.
Mm.
There are changes continuously happening. I want to quickly dive into this issue of our current aspiration, which is the Yoruba nation. When I was, I first have a kind of the hair of the agitation for Yoruba nation. My first question to myself is, what provoked this? That was my first question. And the only answer I feel I got from my interaction was that people of the Yoruba stock were tired with the way Nigeria was run, had been run, and is being run. They were tired of the structure. They were tired of non-alignment. Like, we have another stock that is proving difficult to understand that things could be done differently. That essentially is a big problem. And the third part is fear. Fear of continuity with this same way that had led us to this problem and that could lead us into an abyss. So rather than continuing this quagmire of a nation called Nigeria, why not we I mean um, extricate ourselves from that system? Be honorable as that will sound, I considered it as an escapism.
You mean escapism in terms of the that the Yoruba people feel
Yes,
uh,
that agitation. Yes, I
they feel
consider it. Yes, yes.
they feel
And I would go further on it. I consider it as
sorry to interrupt you, that it feels being changed the last 60 years, that they've not been able to be on their own, to be able to fix the anomalies, uh, to put uh, good governance in place, because like you rightly said in your industry, I mean, if we have been waiting to have good governance and that has not come due to some of your uh, um, analysis, what do you think the Yoruba people, the conveners put it together, are doing wrongly?
not that they are doing anything wrongly. Let me quickly correct an impression now. Yoruba agitation had not been in existence 60 years. In my little history, I understood the birth of Nigeria. Yoruba nation or Yoruba territory, Yoruba ideals had always been in existence from time immemorial.
Mm.
However, as nationhood that was birthed in a West African territory called Nigeria today, it was only Nigeria that was proclaimed. It was only Nigeria that was created. The nation of Yoruba, or the state of Yoruba, was part of that ecosystem. I never read of an agitation at any time for a Yoruba nation anywhere up until recently. That means what we have essentially is a nation of nations, which is Nigeria, that is now trying to understand itself and said whether we should stand separately as nations. It is not, unlike some who want to put it, that it was formerly nations separately, but was put together to become Nigeria. No,
Of
no.
course, it was amalgamated for over 100 years ago. I mean,
If you read what that amalgamation is about, is amalgamation of the protectorate. That means the British has conquered this protectorate. It is their property. They conquered this other protectorate, the Northern Protectorate. It is their property. Rather than for them to have two separate countries, they amalgamated it. The amalgamation was not in any form request the involvement of the locals, either the northern leaders nor the southern leaders. It was essentially done by the British. They are their territories. They do not want an administration of two nations. They put it together of their own. They did not have any discussion with northern leaders that let me bring you into this one. They amalgamated it to form a nation, the nation that they want as one. It was their own idea. But I'm saying that within all those protectorates, there were states, if you want to call them, or there were nations, but there were native territories that have their own boundaries, that have their own conduct, because the British was ruling indirectly. And that's why it's not in any Nigerian's dictum for them to have come up with the name. It was for the Mrs. Shaw, or whether it's Miss Shaw. I stand to be correct. I don't know which is which. Who happens to later marry Lord Lugard, that suggested that name. So it wasn't an affair for the politicians or the leaders of those protectorates.
Yeah. Are you saying, sorry to interject you again, are you saying that then thereafter, when this amalgamation thing was perfected, in order to ease the burden of leaving the North to be free, and then the South, and the thing is convenient, is better manageable if both of them are are joined together for conveniences of the benefit of the achievement of having colonized these two major areas, and then that the girlfriend of Lugard would find a river and then call both sides to be in Nigeria. I know that might be another history, but the point I'm trying to get from you is, are you saying that then thereafter, when all this happened, now that the Yoruba people of the South now saying to the whole arrangement, apart from it wasn't, you said it, that it wasn't a discussed arrangement. It wasn't. It was just done without their blessings. So now, what exactly is Yoruba people doing now? If they now insist and say, "Look, listen, that relationship you put together by force, it's just not working."
And that's what I mean by, you see, those early politicians in the likes of Zik, Awolowo, and all that did not see that contraption then. That's what I want to believe. You get it? And that's why the agitation for nationhood was not for Oduduwa Nation, was not for Biafra Nation, was not for Arewa Nation, because already the British, mind you, the idea of the British, we can speculate, because unless they tell us the intent of colonization, we can only speculate on it. There have been so many books about colonization. The whole idea is they want a territory that they can bring up to their own training. They will teach you how to speak their own way, how to walk their own way, how to live their own way, and ask you to govern it. That is the whole idea. If the idea was to have a Yoruba nation, it would have been that we are saying we will have fought the British people and said, we want the Obas, because that is what we have used to. Do you get it? We want our kingship to be controlling our nation should be this way. This is how we are being ruled. But they have trained some of us who had become political leaders on how the British administers affairs of the state.
Mm.
And when these ones came up, they too are now agitating that give us this state named Nigeria that you are controlling, that we are part of, to be independent of you. That was why there was no agitation, because that agitation will have come to say that they not want the Sultan to rule everywhere. You get, because that's the, over the years before the British, that is the structure they have had. Their agitation will have been that way, that the way you have come, this Prime Minister Westminster idea you have brought is negative, is ultra-vires to us. We cannot do it. This is the way we, but what the British did was indirect. They bring in these local leaders and rule through them. Do you get what I'm saying? So that's why I said there had never been that agitation. So the agitation, to be honest with ourselves, came because Nigeria did not work. Not that there was a good Yoruba nation that was fought for before. No, it had always been Nigeria that had worked, people prosper. But when it begins not to work, it becomes, oh ye Israel, everybody to his own tent. People now begin to identify that, oh, I'm a Yoruba, maybe I could have prospered more. You get it? And that's why I said that is a wrong recipe. Yes, if we said, unless we're going to say that, suddenly creating a Yoruba nation out of a decadent
Hold on a minute.
Nigeria.
Let me take this call. Hello, sorry. Okay, continue.
Unless we're going to say that the recipe is creating a Yoruba nation out of a decadent Nigeria will summarily be a solution. But I'm putting to you that these so-called Yorubas have over the 60 years been Nigerian. It will just simply be a nomenclature, a change. Then is you are glossing over the problem. If the problem is Nigeria, those who will call themselves Yoruba today are Nigerians. That means there is still the DNA of that problem in them.
Oh, are you saying now that even if Yoruba nation were to emerge tomorrow, the DNA of the culture of bad governance is still going to be there? How can you?
Oh, very well. Yes,
how can you say that?
I've just said it. I said because they are all Nigerians. They are all contributors to what led us here. Name changing is not a solution. Well, maybe in banking, I've seen it happen. Where a distressed bank changed its name and it floats, and yet, yeah, it became successful. You get it? Yeah, it has happened. Maybe name changing. Though, truthfully, there is change in management.
Okay, that is in corporations. That's in the
truthfully, there is change in management as well, though. But
yeah.
that name change equally trumped it up. You get it? But in reality, in practical sense of social engineering, the fact that I said I am not an Estonian and I'm now living in the United States and I'm American does not negate the fact that all I have done in Estonia came from who I am. Yes, whether I've done so many wrong in Estonia when I was an Estonian, it all came from who I am. If I decide to relocate to America and became an American, it has not taken it away. I'm likely, I have every chance to repeat the same. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Then the second way that I looked at it is this. There are three ways I've seen so far. is, why not we fix Nigeria and then we can fix Yoruba nation? That is, if the problem is Nigeria, why do we want to run away from it? Why can't we fix it and we fix Yoruba? Because in fixing Nigeria, we are fixing Yoruba. That's second. The third is, in the current problem of Nigeria, if the Yoruba feel that having their own is what makes it work, we can start that practice now. What I mean by that is, fortunately, by territorial boundaries, we can delineate areas that are Yoruba territories. There's nothing that stops cooperation in terms of economic development within all the strata of government in that territory to let us see that it can work.
But sorry, I'm certain I keep interrupting
Yeah.
your flow. But when you look at the contracted 1999 Constitution,
Okay.
some of this your line of argument to a layman becomes a little bit
Difficult to work.
difficult.
The workability of it, right?
Yes.
Yes. And it's simple. This project has twofold. There could be agitation by media control and what's it called? Publicity, media and publicity. But the one that is most important is the political agitation. If we are really serious about it, we should be politically engaged. We should not tear down our own politicians. We should have politicians who have commitment, who themselves see that the progress of this nation, Yoruba nation, is the progress for me, even as I remain a Nigerian. If we have those crop of politicians, they can come and speak for the voice of the Yoruba nation.
But unfortunately we don't have them
And
plenty.
then it's because those of us who are agitating are not seeing it as a strategic way to do it. Yes, we are not seeing it. We are seeing it only from media and publicity. We are not seeing it as a strategic way to achieve it. That is, if we bring in the politicians who, it might not be this crop. This is not going to be a 3-month project. It might not be this crop of politicians who are there. Let those of us who will handle the platform of the Yoruba nation begin to sponsor candidates in major political parties who will be representing our constituencies within the territories of the Yoruba, who are themselves identifying with the purpose, the goal, the aim of this agitation. Yes, we are all witness to one man, Nigel Farage here. Consistently, he went into EU. He has no other thing. Consistently. I will come to the constitution that is what he kept tabling before EU. If you have Nigerian politicians who identified with this project, who consistently goes to the house and said, for this reason my people have sent me, that this fragile arrangement is not working. It needs a second look. It is our position, but we are not agitating out of ordinary. We want to agitate to let those who even feel they are convenient now in this arrangement, to let them know that it's not doing anybody any good. It's not doing them good, neither is it doing us good. It will be for all of us, our interest, to sit down and look at these things well. That is the provision of the laws. If you don't have people, unless we are going to resort to violence, we are going to say we want to seize this nation by violence. If we're not going to do that, that is the way out. We will have to engage politically. Even ANC, when they were in South, they have a political, it is their, in fact, it is that political wing that won the war and the battle as well. You get it? So no matter how many body wants to preach to us, whether you go fortify yourself, you go get this gun, you go get that gun, you still have to come to talk. Why don't we begin to strategize on that talking? The only avenue for us to have that engagement in talking is a political forum. And it is your law, what is it called? Law representative, the houses that can do that for you. If you look at the enormity of the problem, some people will not want to take a step. They will tell us that they will burden you down with the problem. They will tell you the Constitution says 2/3 of the state has to assign to assent to it. All these 2/3 of the 776 local government, 75 should assent to it. This should. If they tell you so much of that problem, you will not take a step. Rather,
Shegun, but we don't have this crop of
you are going back to what I've just said. I simply earlier said it might not be this generation of politician, because we ourselves.
Are you saying to us that
No, but because we ourselves do not even have that candidate. I mean, how can I say somebody who is not representing my interest should suddenly do what is good? I can't say that. If I have identified that Yoruba politicians are in the house now are not representing my interest, why then am I again talk? That's double mouth, saying that they should perform as an angel. No. But I have not on my own too put mechanism in place that could replace such person with the one that could articulate my position. That's what I'm saying. If I want that change, I should begin that movement where I will put in place the mechanism to change those who are not seeing what I'm saying, or who does, but vehemently for reasons best known to them, are sticking out. Yes, that is it. It's not limited to just one political. You could infest as many political parties as you can, and making sure that this message is imbibed, and most of them are sitting there talking about it. Let me be honest with all Nigerians, not just Yoruba. Yoruba nation is a good agitation. It's a win-win for everybody. If there is Arewa agitation tomorrow, it's a win-win for everybody. We should all have a listening here to hear what prompts this agitation. One, because that's not even enough. What does that agitation, if actualized, is going to bring? I will tell you, if Yoruba nation becomes a reality and it will not bring good wind for Arewa, why do we want them to accept it? You should ask ourselves. We should not be oblivious of these things. Why do you want an Hausa man who knows you will be shortchanged if you become success to be part of that your success? That should be a question to anybody. Unless you let him see that he stands to gain. If I become independent and you are independent, this is the chance for you to gain this. That is when he can succumb to you. He can aspire, he can understand, he can appreciate why that should happen. But if you are selling it to him that my success will come at the expense of you being in penury. I don't know why you are expecting that you should not be against it, if not violently too. Yes, if not violently too. If you think that a successful Yoruba nation is at the cost of making other nationality be at negative, why should we expect them to be cooperative?
But
Even the idea of me saying that we go to the house to discuss it will be a nullity,
yeah,
because it is sold to them that these things is to my own detriment. Then
okay.
that issue of the numbers being in their support will come heavily against me.
Yeah,
Yes.
but again, my thinking, and I believe majority of Yoruba people are saying, if they are getting a ruddy, if they know, if they see these obstacles, that the impediment is so eminent that the chances of living, because the beneficiaries or the benefit is more tilt toward, I mean, towards to the northerners, and they are going to be aggrieved. But then again, the condition of relationship is being determined, is being dictated by the northerners. I give a very one of the very crude example, that the northerners, sorry, are you there? Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you, sir.
That the northerners are still insisting that there should be ruga, there should be rearing of cattle. 2023 now, in
Mm-hmm.
the midday, during the day, they're everywhere, almost uncanny of any city, of any town. And there's some other things they believe that once they're in control, they don't want to share it. They don't want to share the success with anybody. They just want to use it as a weapon. When you have this list or catalog of woes, of things that are not just in tandem with good governance, and the people who could do better are this Yoruba people, why will you argue, despite the fact you are saying through representation and so on, how many more years? If they turn around and say, you know what, we cannot continue to pomisi apere, we cannot continue to do business of ejekashima try, because the way things are in Nigeria, I can argue it very well with you that majority of the people in House of Senate and Rep, then the local government, they are people whose interest is just only permanent to them, not to the people they are serving. What do you say to that? Hello, hello. There's interference. Hello, can you hear me? I think your device is freezing. Can you check your device, please? I think your device is freezing. All right, I'm going to go on a short break just to fix this problem. So when I come back, we'll continue with Mr. Daniel Oseni. Even though he's my name, I need to start calling him Mr. now. As you can see, he's 50 something. And anybody with 50 anything here is a man, big man, Bapa. So I'm going to go on a short break and come back shortly. Please do not go away and hold it there. Yeah?
Hello? I, I can't, I'm sorry. No, no. I cannot hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much. For those of you who knows this TV station, whatever who latest, there are a lot of things that have happened in the sense since I got my independence from my managers. I want mommy, I want the young, I want the youth. Now I'm around the business. See, there are a couple of them, and I just discovered that because of their struggle, responsibilities for bread and butter, and to put bread and butter on the table, food on the table for their family. I couldn't be using most of their time since my show has not intended to be monetized. So I just decided, say, okay, let me quickly add to my knowledge of IT because many times I say when I was doing television recent, as in the early, well, maybe mid 20s, mid whatever, I have to be in the studio. My guests will have to come to the studio. One sit here down, one funny, no, shake my show. But today, you can be traveling in a coach or in train and still be part of the show we are doing. So, excuse me, do not get angry. It's an old man, one man show. Old man, one man show. So, but I'm enjoying it. And but what is important is the information I have for you that I want to disseminate to you that can be very useful, so that can make you to make formal and informal decisions. So I'm back. I'm back with Shegun Oseni, and again, nothing to hide. He's a combination of my nephew, and in African sense, he's also my son because he was just 1 year old when I traveled. So, um, Shegun Daniel, welcome back. Let's talk more about some other area of problems in Nigeria, in particular, religion. What roles do you think religion is playing in developing our country as we speak?
Well, religion is, social scientists will say, is the opium for the people, for the
Oh,
citizen.
you mean like Max Weber said?
Yes.
Hmm.
Um, and it's to a large extent very true because faith-based issues can be spontaneous, it can be erratic, it can be fragile, it can be very sensitive, and it can be explosive.
Hmm.
So there are so many adjectives to qualify it. Uh, there are those who have the temperament of listening. There are those who do not have the temperament of listening. So one has to meander around that environment because knowledge, wisdom, and understanding itself can only work if you put them into use. It will be rubbish for anybody who consider himself sensible, knowledgeable, that has been forewarned. This person, if you tell him this, that, because of his religion, is capable of killing you. And you said, you know what? I will have a very different way of telling it to him. If he eventually kills you out of it, he might be sent to jail or be killed thereafter or whatever, but it does not bring that brilliancy that people know in you, but for your foolishness that you lost your life for. So, religion in Nigeria, as I considered it, has had its good time in trying to uplift the spirit of the people because of the preponderance of the problem they confront. Be it as it may, some might see that it's not in a good state, that some are profiting out of it, which undoubtedly is true. Yeah. In the same way, those who will claim that some are profiting out of religion should ask, are they profiting out of nothing? Somebody must make himself or herself gullible. So that is the situation. And if all things are put on the table, I think we are all gullible in one way or the other, because life is about relationship. I recall the other time you asked me, how do you want to describe me on the media? And I said, I would like to be described as a relationship manager. I'm a relationship expert, to be honest. Because in our lives, we are all start off with and will end up with managing relationship. That is basically why we are here. Relationship with God, if we believe in one, and even if you don't believe in one, or if you believe in many, as some would want to. Relationship with your family in terms of your mom, your dad, your brothers, sisters. Relationship with your wife, relationship with your children, relationship with your friends, relationship with people who you don't even know, consider as friend or foe. So in all our lives, what I'm saying now is creating relationship with some people, because some are bound to probably say, what is he talking about? You get it?
Mm.
It is because it has whatever I said now has have an impact in them for a reason, whether they want to contradict it or they want to accept it. So how do I create that relationship? How do I manage that relationship? You get it? It's all there is. And even in community, one community relates with the other. It's a relationship. States relate with another state. It's a relationship. Nations relate with nations. It's relationship. So whether on individual, on the corporate, business-like, or national entities, yeah, life is all about relationship management. So religion is just one aspect of the many relationships we will have to deal with. Yeah. Nigeria wants to be seen as a secular nation. When I was in high school, I think I considered it as such until sometime, I think 1996. An erudite, a man I well respected, in the name of Chief, I don't know how I want to, his name keeps coming to my mind now. He's the second in command to the Sardauna. I mean, I said Sardauna, the Sultan, in terms of religious, in terms of the leadership of Islam in Nigeria from the south.
I think something. I think Sheikh something.
No, I don't think he goes by the Sheikh. He's a lawyer, a reputed lawyer. I will remember his name now. He's the Secretary General of the Islamic something from the Sultan, but he's a Yoruba man.
Is it Dr. Adegbite?
Adegbite, God bless you. Dr. Adegbite. He said that Nigeria is not a secular nation. And I was worried. What does this man mean? He says secularity means the non-existence of religion. said Nigeria is a religious nation. That's the first time I will hear such thing. Because secularism seems to be what makes sense to all of us. That it gives an abode to all religion to fetter. But here is a man, well-read, a learned man, and he's telling me something different. And I did check and make findings. I believe what he said was right. So in terms of religion, Nigeria is a religious nation. We have different religious beliefs, religious interests, religious tendencies exist, and they cohabit. Sometimes they come in contact with each other in a fragile way and escalate into violence. Fortunately, or unfortunately, we have had some bad memories of such clashes. But like I said, that will be unfortunate. Fortunately, for whatever reason, they've been quelled,
Mm.
and there have been resumptions to life and activities. I mean, activities surrounding life to grow around such area. So I will only want to limit my comment on religion to that.
To avoid unnecessary aggravating
I did
some.
tell you the wisdom in trying to appease to even people who are ignorance of what they have,
Mm.
but to appease to their sensitivities. So,
By the way, Shegun Daniel, we can't see your face anymore. Is there anything wrong with where you are? We
okay.
can't see your picture anymore. We can't see your face.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and I'm sure some of our viewers will say, Akileshele. Again, viewers, there's a little bit technicalities, but don't worry, we'll fix it. We, I think my guest, Shegun Daniel Oseni, and nephew of this host, talk show host, presenter, is having some challenges with his device. So, so Shegun Daniel will come back to to join us in the studio, and we're going to move on. Again, viewers, do not use any. Kí ló ń ṣẹlẹ̀ lórí show máa yí wọ́n lọ break. Àwọn tún on the camera. Don't worry. This is part of. I always say this. I always add this to be part of my show. And don't read any meaning to it. Than things like this when it happens, it makes the show tick. Like I said, what is important to you and I should be information dissemination that you are going to get on Otumba Who latest talk show. I can tell you apart from they are real, they are correct, they are well informative, educative, knowledgeable information that one cannot just say, well, and we are talking exactly how things are supposed to be. I'll be taking check when it comes back on issue of the Yoruba, the census, economic, and some other cultural aspects of our life. Mr. Shegun, can you hear? No, I need to. You need to come back to the studio. Just So I might have to go on another short break because I need to find out what exactly is going on with my guest. Welcome back, Shegun Daniel. Again,
Okay, viewers, I'm sorry about the incident, please.
yeah, I know some people will be saying, Ale, the first show of Otumba who latest. Lonely oríṣiríṣi. Don't worry, be happy. Again, like I said, at the end of the day, all this will worth your while because I have a proven. He didn't want to tell you that he's a genius. He's one of my brilliant nephews, very very intelligent, and Yorùbá ní tí nǹkan èèyàn bá dára èèyàn lè fi gbárí èèyàn lè fi whatever. That's exactly. Mo ń ṣakọ mo fi ń yangàn. My nephew is fantastic. Now, Segun, let's continue with this discussion. It's New Year. It's the first show I'm having on my channel. Economic of Nigeria, because I understand you read agroeconomy after you. Oh, it's gone again. Oh my God. Now wow. I wanted to take him on the. I want to take him on the agroeconomics, especially the issue with central bank governor that found himself now in trouble, and also on the cultural front, the Omolushus, how did we get there? And I also want to talk about sense of things that this area that bothers me as a political observer myself. I still believe that there cannot be alternative to that Yoruba, one of the three major tribes or three major tribe nations in the country, that they have to continue to stay, because we have seen that from experience, working together with some part of the country is just not going to enhance our quest, our planning, our plans to develop ourselves to a first class country, first class country. Because the way things are, it's just like we are still under the influence of some people who ordinarily they cannot be bothered. And in life, you don't want to start using that argument that, okay, if my friend doesn't care, or my father doesn't care, my mother doesn't care, or somebody doesn't care, and because of that, I want to do what they want to do. No, 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 no. People will always find a reason why they want to go out of a relationship. And for me, I wouldn't say why not. If they think separation or coming out of a relationship is going to offer them a better life somewhere, somehow, so be it. So let them go get it. Because as long as you, the other partner, that your life is not going to be put on hold, I want to believe that that'll be the proper thing to do, and let them go for it. So again, once Daniel Shegun Oseni comes back, I want to rub minds with him on economics saga in Nigeria. Also talk about culture, and also talk about, and finally go back to issue of Yoruba nation campaigners, because recently something happened, and what happened was like I mean, let's call it exactly as it is. I think the whole campaign was derailed, and that has been going on now for a while, because among the Yoruba campaigners, any ẹnìkan tó kàn wá from nowhere tó bẹ̀rẹ̀ sí take advantage of weakness of the national leadership, or take advantage of the goodwill of the people, and tí ó rò pé nǹkan tóun bá sọ ló lábẹ́ máa gé. And that's why I was also trying to ask my guest about issue of religion, because ìtà ń sọ yìí ó pọ̀. The religion has made it possible for one person to derail the journey of about 70 million people. That is the fact. The journey has been derailed, because we are now in a limbo. We are now, I don't even want to use limbo. Limbo will be too, it's a powerful word, but it will be too complementary to stupidity. Because all what we need to do now is to go back to basics. That's already drawing board. Because here is someone to say, I want to declaration, and is making it loud. Is saying it like a kind of authoritative statement, because want to declare. Yeah, I think I have a caller. Hello, Shegun. Hello. Okay, I'll do that in a minute. Yeah. Okay. That's my guess. Still having issues with his device, and then just we are getting there. We are getting there, because there's a lot to discuss. There's a lot to be discussed, and so get much. So we now have this issue of ẹnìkan tó ní òun ti ṣe declaration on behalf of our son and daughters of Yoruba, or Yoruba people. And because of that, that's the end of the journey. That all we need to be waiting for now ni kí kábíyèsí ká gba àwọn nǹkan wa, properties wa. I'll be asking Segun to to throw more light into what that really means. If that is the way things are done, or we have been like how do I say it? We have been fooled, because that's how it looks to me. That we have been fooled. We have been shown a wrong. We set our GPS to a wrong destination. And now so along the journey, most of us slept off. And then when we now got to a point, and then we all woke up and said, inú dish la wà yìí now. This is not the kò now. And most of us started asking questions. How did we get here? And some of us who started the journey together at the same time turn around and say, you know what? Ìgbà tí I discovered pé there is a wrong turning somewhere. Somebody like me, and that is the truth. Somebody like me stood up and say, hello, Mr. Driver, Abi Mrs. whatever. We towing a wrong line, a wrong way. We asked the question, and to be precise, in order to refresh memory of some people, was when after the 5 million signatures, and then of course I must say collectively we all agreed to subscribe to it, because it was not like a majority of our people, or almost majority of our people then were so anxious. They wanted to get to the even though I'm still thinking kò sígbà tí èèyàn dáṣọ tí ò fi rílẹ̀ ìwọ, kò dẹ̀ sígbà tá a lè continue this agitation in such a way that when you look at the history, it took some people a year, 2 years or whatever, and in some cases it took some people 20-something years, and in fact it's still taking some people 75 years. So all I'm saying to ẹ̀yin tẹ́ ń gbọ́ mi òun ni wípé we made a fundamental mistake, very, very fundamental, big mistake, because when this particular person came, she came with a big bang, with the belief that everything she will be contributing will automatically enhance our drive, our wishes, our dreams to get a Yoruba nation. But for some of us who are in the study, who are in the know of Wikwe, this is how things are done, especially when it comes to this particular kind of a project, that we will need to follow the process and procedure. There's no shortcut to a lot of things we do in life. Let's take the example, if you want to be more married, you start a relationship first, and then in the process you start making little things bring into the relationship. You might officially get married or not, but you might have to do what you need to do to get the opposite sex prepared for bringing a child to this world. But when that relationship misses its target or meets the process, you get nothing for it. No, that might not be the best example, but I know exactly what I'm saying. So we where we are now is 1st of January 2023. So when this journey started, we were all hoping. I don't want to. I don't want to offend anybody, but at the same time, I think I rather stay with the truth. Continue to tell the truth, nothing but the truth, because I have spent substantial part of my life building the empire of truth. Telling the truth is my core value, and I cannot afford to start saying things that are not good. Yeah, we all say, mi ò tiẹ̀ lè parọ́ o, gbogbo ẹ̀ là ń sọ, which is fine. Mi ò parọ́ o, láíláí mi ò bá anybody parọ́. Whereas bàbá onírọ́, ìyá onírọ́ ni àìlòmíì. They are ready to ṣe nǹkan tí ò yẹ kán ṣe because wọ́n fẹ́ impress àwọn èèyàn kan báwọn sòótọ́. All that put together, that said, we fall in for trap of one person. And Yorùbá ní tí inú bá ṣe gbá àmọ́ èèyàn lè wò ó. But this one person, òun ló mọ nǹkan tí òun driver, òun ló mọ nǹkan tó òun wá. Also gbá millions of Yorùbá to a point tó jẹ́ pé as we speak, ó ti dorí gbogbo nǹkan rú. Ó ti lulẹ̀, ó ti dàwó, ó ti dá this project of Yoruba nation. Even though we have more reasons to believe that there are some other opportunities, there are other ways to do it, but as we speak, ó ti dàrú. Ó ti dorí ẹ̀rú, ẹ má tanra yín. And fortunately for her, ó lo àwọn oríṣiríṣi illiterate tools by engaging in one kind of gúgúrú rẹ̀ pàrẹ̀ o. I think I have my guest again back in the studio. How is it now? Have you been able to fix?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I have.
Okay.
But let me quickly put a caveat there. It's not permanently fixed. I've detected the problem. I've fixed it, but I envisage it might still turn up again. Yeah.
Okay. Any which way, let's quickly go through this. I wanted to say something about the economy of Nigeria. I want to talk about cultural. Quickly touch. How will you say, as a student of economics, how will you say the economic of Nigeria looks like? And then please put the recent CBN policies to change the naira.
Policy somersault.
Yeah, well, to change the naira, and also the policy of central bank governor tried to be president of Nigeria, and the professionalism and unprofessionalism. Quickly, let us walk through that in maybe 1 minute, because I'm going to take you back to Yoruba Nation campaign group.
Yeah.
And their present situation where they are. So quickly, just take 1 minute.
Now, let me first take the central bank policies that are recently shown out, regarding, the money redesign and the what is it called, withdrawal levels and all that kind of thing. How it will affect the polity. To be candid, in economics, nothing is certain. Just as in life, you can do some things you can bring certain variables to assure certainty. But because in life, no variables in itself can be held constant for eternity, you expect change. You get it? So It depends on how you tinker with a lot of things that will assure continuity, or your continuous review of them that will assure continuity. In my opinion, and this is what happens in business world as well as commerce and as well as economics. A simple word, just simple word can somehow torpedo an economic or even an institution. I'll give you a very simple, very, very close to home example. If
Okay.
tomorrow a high-ranking member of First Bank management or board come up and said, First Bank has a black hole or has been suspectedly frauded of up to $1 trillion.
Mm-hmm.
Just that it might even be out of order. Maybe it does not get his information correct. It sparks a domino effect that depositors will panic, no matter the assurance they want to give them to
Mm-hmm.
withdraw their money. Investors will stay away from First Bank, and the influence that First Bank have in Nigerian banking industry will reverberate throughout all the financial system in Nigeria. And that statement could have arisen from the pit of hell. That is how sometimes sensitive, colossal in their effect some of these things are. And that's how very sensitive and very fragile
Some decision could be.
economic handling can be. Coming to the recent advice by the central bank to the presidency in terms of Naira redesign, as well as trying to curb influence of cash in the economy. From my own quarter, it's a good development which will have positive impact on the economy. And I will tell you why it has not been. I don't have the measure. I don't have the any stick to measure it. This statement that I wanted to make, whether it was received well or not in Nigeria or even in the international community, I don't have a yardstick for that measurement. Is that it's unfortunate it came out from person of Emefiele. That's the only negativity comment towards it as arisen from. Unfortunately, Emefiele have vindicated his political interest, which put into mayor, soiled the reputation of the clarity, standard, and fairness of the central bank. That's the unfortunate thing, that he had indicated his interest to be presidential candidate, that he took form, that he canvasses for votes. That in itself, any subsequent decisions that is made will be seen from the political angle. Apart from that, even decisions that were supposed to be very good and take the country's economy in the right direction will be subject to such scrutiny. That is the only unfortunate thing, and it is difficult to entangle it. It is difficult, to be honest. The only thing I can advise is Emefiele should just be replaced. There is no irreplaceable person. That's the truth. You might have good ideas, excellent deliveries. There are those who can do better. There are those who can do at par. Because if all those excellence come with that political baggage, it is a problem for Nigeria. It's like you have a wife who, if she decide not to understand you because you are not sleeping with her regularly, that's what she wants, and you are saying, oh, I want you to do, she will not listen, no matter what. You get it? So no matter what Emefiele wants to do, as long as all he says is seen from the political prism, is dangerous. And I told you how economics are fragile.
Mm.
Yes, is dangerous for that system. Even if he meant well, even if those who are saying he doesn't meant well knew that he meant well, as long as they portray it in that political limelight, it is dangerous. It's not going to achieve any, it's not going to achieve the determined goals. Yes, it's not.
Okay.
That's simply the situation now. Anybody who had been a good student of management should know that if there is such a cause in the system, you need to remove that problem. Emefiele had become a problem. It's
Mm.
not his message. It's not how he wanted to. It is his personality that had become the problem.
That now become
So rather
impactful
than oiling the wheel, it will be a clog in the wheel.
of progress.
Yes, unless we are going to deceive ourselves,
Or,
nobody is taking his brilliancy away. But what I'm saying is, no matter how humans are brilliant, there are those who are more brilliant than them. There are those who are equal to them. There are those who are not, who could, with time, come at par and even surpasses them. So let's give those that chance. That's just it. Rather than living with his, he will deliver, but he will create problem. You will not get that delivery. That's the truth.
I cannot agree more. I agree with you, even though I know a little, not too much about
He's
economics.
an excellent manager, no
Yeah,
doubt.
no doubt about it. I agree with you, and I want to appreciate. I want to appreciate
But he
that.
has made a false move, a false step.
Yes.
Yeah. Uh, I hope I've put that to rest. Then
Ye-
you said we should talk about. Yeah, you mentioned something the other time, sir. I'm not hijacking your.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. About Nigerian, which actually is something of concern to me. Nigerian constitution.
Yes, the
Yes.
1999 Constitution.
Yes. Yeah. And in different fora, I've tried to, for those who can listen, I've tried to let them see this as devilish, as difficult, as rigid, as whatever most negatively has been used to describe the Nigerian constitution. That it was forced, it was, it's not, it does not stay true to his initial pronouncement that we people of Nigeria, that we did not congregate to write this, all manners of way to describe it as negatively as it could be. I have said that one, that's the only working document that Nigeria have. One, for now. Two, it does not mean we cannot produce another. Yes, because
Yeah,
that one,
to
because of
interrupt you
its
again,
defect,
Shagun.
because
To
of,
produce another
pardon me,
one,
sir,
yeah,
because of its defect, it can challenge us to make a better one.
yeah, but we
Now,
can't. We
no,
can't even.
I will come to that, sir.
Okay.
Then the second part is, like I said, with all those negative things around it, we just need to scrutinize and look very well. And I've said this, maybe mind is not settled around what I've said.
Mm.
This constitution in itself shot itself in the leg. It says that I'm empowering group of people to tinker with me. No matter how rigid, how difficult we said it could be, all manners of things that is built in it that makes it so rigid, so difficult. So But it again now come down and said, two legislative houses are to be set up, and these two legislative houses have powers that they can use to tinker with me, to redesign me, to rewrite me, to manipulate me. That is the weakness in that constitution. That means our energy should not be channeled at reverberating, repeating, retalking, respeaking, relabeling this constitution on those bad articles or bad ways in which we see it. Rather, our energy should be channeled to how do we harness the potentials, the opportunities of these loopholes that it has created, that something, somebody can actually rewrite me, redo me, remake me. If we don't have that zeal, that willingness in ourselves, then we should blame ourselves, not that constitution any longer. We should make ourselves congregate to see the need, to tinker with it, to touch it, to repaint it, to rewrite it. That's the way to go. It's not to keep soiling in the problem. It has given us that ray of light, ray of hope that we can explore and exploit to bring that change. If we're not doing that to the maximum, even to the optimum, and we just want to give in and condemn and say, maybe that condemnation give us the feel-good kind of effect.
Factor.
Yes.
Factor.
Yeah, because even some Nigerians, they will enunciate several problems Nigeria have. And I just look that it is not in my practice to always talk about problem. If somebody comes to me with any problem, the usual to me in my consultation is, what have you considered? Solutions. It's not for you to keep repeating. Some people get maybe feel good when you see other people sharing it with them. They say, oh, in Nigeria, hospital don't work. And somebody say, oh, I'll tell you an instance of my brother that he was there, nobody attended to him. But imagine here, they will all say the problem again and again and again for 15 hours. Everybody went their way. Nothing. Maybe magically they think that problem will resolve itself. It's not in my character.
Yeah, but Segun, Segun, I'm sorry to interject you again and again and again. The only problem I have here is you and I know, and you probably do not dwell longer on it, that there's always a process and procedure on everything.
Yes.
I mean, you can agree and you can also disagree.
Yes.
As much as I appreciate that if something is not working for now,
yes,
you can find a temporary to palliate it, to keep it going until when you find a final solution to some problem. You use the example of relationship and so on and so forth. There are many relationships as we speak today. They crashed, completely crashed, because there wasn't enough consultation, there wasn't enough reconciliation and amending and address problems in that relationship. I agree, and I did not encourage that. It's happened to me, it happened to you, it could happen to anybody. But we are talking of a situation where the process and procedure is when let's go straight. The process is to go through the 774 local governments of that make up Nigeria. That's the first step. So subsequently, you come to the states, and then you come to federal. That is the rep and the Senate. The way things are in Nigeria, and that is probably the way it's going to be for a long time to come. And that's why I'm trying to interrupt you to let
Mhm.
our viewers also hear. For me, even though it's your show, it's supposed to be you. Uh, but the way things are structured, we cannot, nobody can change the constitution from the way it is, because the majority, if you add up all the people in the South, there will always remain in minority compared to people in the North. And they have the aces, they have the joker. They are the one controlling, determining, directing, driving the constitution of the country. So, and you said part of your analysis here today that uh, we can use different methods. All methods that I believe that have been used, the
No.
current and ongoing. Hang on a minute. The current and ongoing one is the issue of restructuring. When that have been uh, uh, sung many, that song have been sung many times, the noise have been made many times over. They don't want to restructure. Even at that, the little part of restructuring they agree to will keep the key post, the key area of governance. A typical example is the exclusive list, where they keep, out of 100 and something, they keep almost about 90 something. And when you look at the security of the country, they want to keep that outfit. They want to keep so many things. And they know by the time you follow the process to a point of now bringing it to because it has to be ratified by such number of governors, such number of states, and so on. When it comes to final vote in the Senate and in House of Rep, no way the South will ever get majority. That's the point I want to make. So how do you deal with that? How do you
Okay.
deal with that?
Okay.
After you have made many efforts to fix a problem.
Okay. I've listened to you, sir.
Okay.
My response is this. The premise of that argument you made is entirely faulty. Not faulty by its own default, but faulty by assumptions. In the sense that there's always this notion that the North is just united and they are on the same track. The South is maybe plethora of divisions. In fact, the recent agitation of the Yoruba uh, nationhood showed us that Yoruba nation itself is very fragile and fractured. An agitation that has not lasted just a year or two or three has blossomed into fracas.
Hmm. I'm
Yes.
coming there. I'm coming there
So
because you need to.
yeah, I just used it as an example, and that's why we need to take a step away from assumptions. This idea that the North is just they will just be against, they will just be. There are equally decent voices in the North, because the argument the Southerners have always given is there is so much allocation of the resources to the North, and I can bet most of those leaders to have transversed most part of the North. If they can confidently say that just 17%, I won't say 90, I won't say 17% of the North actually enjoyed those resources. Do they? If you're talking of level of poverty, even in Nigeria, as the South is screaming, they themselves knows that it's worse in the North. So, what will have been the justification for this idea of rogue belief that it is the North that is appropriating massive resources to itself without nothing to show for it? That means as much is being appropriated, it's going into the hands of the few. What makes us that those majority in the North that are not beneficiary cannot see the light of what we are preaching in the South?
I
Why are
think
we saying, no,
sorry,
pardon me,
you're
sir,
missing a point.
pardon me, sir,
You're missing a
why
point.
are we believing that
The
they will kowtow to continuously say that that should be the way it should go?
I can tell you, even though you're supposed to tell me, but I
Yes.
can tell you, if you look at the feudalistic structure of the
Yes.
North, Every
Yeah.
time it comes to say another way of saying, when it comes to fundamental
I
change,
understood the feudal system. Is
yeah,
Rankadede, you take it, everybody becomes subservient to you. Yes, I'm not denying that it happens in the
yeah, but
north.
then it will not affect the decision making. It will always come to be when the idea of wanting to change something that will fundamentally affect them. Do not forget that they have successfully changed the structure of the country in different angles. Look at, for example, for census. It is only in Nigeria that the majority of Nigerians are in the north, in the desert, which up to today it's been very difficult for the south to challenge, to work on it. You see, I agree with you. You have been telling our viewers and telling me how much we need to do to fix a problem, that we
Yes,
shouldn't run away from tinkering on doing this. But I'm telling you from experience of a 75-year-old man that my
yes.
experience with Nigeria, especially when it comes to certain things, they become very united, very firmly connected. Hey,
Okay, okay. An experienced 75-year-old man. Agreed. All with all due respect, sir. There is a saying: when you keep doing the same thing the same way, you do not
yeah,
expect a different
yeah,
result.
I may
It
have
has
that
been,
in my head.
yeah, it has been so because things has been done with the idea that you have said so far.
Yes,
And I'm saying that maybe it's fear that is keeping us back. What I'm proposing are very simple. You get it?
yeah,
Before I go further, I will give a simple analogy. There is nothing, that's my belief, that's my training, that a man will set his mind hard that he cannot achieve.
okay,
You know
fair
the
enough.
only thing that limits man? It is man himself. And
Okay,
it comes in this way where once you just first say to yourself, it is not possible. They will not let it happen. That's how men limit themselves.
then I think let me take a call. I think I have a caller for you.
Yeah.
Hold on, I have a caller. Hello,
Ah,
good afternoon,
I
Doctor.
yes, I
Do you
call
have
you,
a
sir.
question? Yeah, I call it. Do you have
Only,
a Happy New Year?
only to know, happy new year.
I have a guest in the studio. Do you want to ask him a question or you want to contribute?
Oh, okay. I mean, what is the topic of discussion?
It's a general ongoing matters arising about Nigeria, Yoruba, and we've been talking about governance and so on and so forth. Maybe if you just want to make a general contribution while you're here, you've been on my show before, and you look on,
Oh,
so maybe only just to greet all my viewers all over the world. That will also do. But I have a nephew of mine who is a well-informed chap. He knows his onions. He's been talking about
oh.
what's going on in Nigeria. He's also of the opinion that we could do more. That the approach, the way we are handling the exit of Yoruba, is not,
Oh.
even though he supports it, but maybe we are taking it not the right way for now.
Of course, yes.
What
That's
do you
my
have to go?
Absolutely. Please correct. We are not in the right direction at all. Our approach is not is not the best. Although we had the good intention initially, but a normal human being will try to review his strategy as we move along. But we haven't done that. We have not reviewed our strategy and adopt a new one. We just continue along the same path. And that's why we have not made any desired progress at all. Until we do that, then we are not going to get anywhere. We just want to remain stuck at this awareness level, and that's why we find ourselves, right? We haven't gone beyond that. Yeah.
And when you are still there, even though I don't want to take all the question I might be, because you are the next one that I'm going to ask you when you come on my show. But a quick one. As you speak, have you any knowledge of changes that are taking place in Yoruba land? Like maybe we have a new governor in Lagos State that is no more called Sanwo-Olu, or we have one in Ondo that is no more called Ogbeni Agbote Omo
Arákùnrin
Arákùnrin or whatever, or somewhere in the kitty. Can you tell people who are listening to us whether you know something that I don't know in terms of reclaiming? Because one of us, one of the campaigner, I call it campaigner, because it's going to a time we need to start reducing the certain privileges some people enjoyed because they have, for me, they've abused it. One of the campaigners has taken us to where we are today, and she said that the declaration has been done, and what we are now doing is reclaiming. Do you want to tell us something that you know that we don't know?
Well, whoever said that is talking absolute nonsense.
Okay.
Because he doesn't understand what it takes to have a nation, to liberate a nation. It's a lot of work. It's a collective responsibility. In fact, if I have to go back, using South Africa as an example, for instance, Nigeria spent almost 50 billion to be able to get South African out of apartheid. So if we are now sitting right here at this point in time, and somebody said that they have declared the dual nation, the person is either confused or doesn't know what he's talking about, or the person has a grandiose delusion. It's total confusion those people are bringing into the fore. And those kind of people should not even be allowed to be in any leadership position, because all they are going to do is to cause chaos, confuse people, and we are not going to move forward in the direction we are supposed to find out where we're supposed to move. And that's what is actually happening now. I'm aware of a lady, they call her Onitiri or whatever the name is, but the point is that, I mean, you, Otumba, you are with us, you know what happened in 2020. We had a rally all over the world. I mean, here in South Africa, I was one who led the rally. There's over 1,000 in the street of Pretoria.
I remember.
I delivered a memorandum to the British High Commission here in South Africa, in Pretoria. And all over the world, there was a rally. This is the name of the Lano, or Yoruba One Voice, where I was the Secretary General. But for somebody to come that he has declared the dual nation, such people, we need to have their head examined. They don't know what they are talking about. They are just misleading our people.
All right.
That's all I need to
Thank
say
you,
about that.
Dr. Shina Okolomo. And when you start talking about the mental situation, I mean, position of anybody among us, because you are a medical doctor, I cannot say you don't know what you are talking about. Thank you very much for your contribution. Like I said, you look on. So next time on my show, look forward to have
so much,
Dr. Shina Okolomo. Thank you very much from South Africa. We appreciate it. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, Olusegun Oseni, that was one of my guests before. He was calling from South Africa. Because of time, normally I don't do I won't in 8 hours conveniently. I cannot afford that. My age won't take it. And judging from but it's because I just want to fill the gap when we're on break, when we are having. That's why I want to extend it maybe another 10 minutes. And if there's anyone who wants to phone in to contribute, please feel free. My guest, my nephew, my son, my everything in the African method, I mean everything African way, is still in the studio to contribute. Let me quickly rush down to issue of census. Now, census. I'm sure you don't tell me that you are not old enough to know that census has not been properly conducted since you are born. At least you must have seen one census conducted in Nigeria. And what's your take on the kind of census, the kind of figures that we're playing with to fix, I mean, to determine how economy is run? Are we really 200 million people, Shegun?
Well, I believe that the idea of census in Nigeria had become, like many other things, political. Census has a purpose in socio-economic development. But those who want to conduct it in Nigeria have a different understanding, a different meaning, a different approach to read what they needed it for, what they needed to use it for. And that is the problem. So only if that problem can be taken away. And how do you take that problem away? It's until people who are saddled with that responsibility begin to understand, not only those, including the populace, begin to understand the need. You cannot use census to, it has been, for instance, to some will, if somebody tell a community now that don't come out to be counted because they wanted to identify those of you that should be paying tax and you are not paying them. That's enough for everybody to stay clear of that exercise. Even if those who want that exercise carried out, their intention was to, how do we bring road to this place? Is the population in commercially viable enough to invest 6 billion naira worth of road construction to a community or a village that is housed by 32 people? Why do you need to spend 6 billion when in 32 people living there, none of them even have a vehicle? Do you get it? That is the purpose why the person that wants to conduct census wanted to do it. But those who in that 32-man strong community was told that it's because they want to identify will you pay tax or not. So there is a problem of input, there is a problem of output. You get it? So that in itself is a problem. And we cannot develop in abstract. We need data. And that census is part of the data. Census itself is just a way to collect data. It's a simple, I don't know, I wouldn't say is the least expensive, but it's one of the simplest way.
It's a key component.
It's one of the simplest way of collecting data. You get it? But if the process of doing so had become immersed in misgivings, in mistrust, you get it? It might not give you a true picture of what you want. So that factoring that into, because even in it, there will be those who will now bring in all manners of issues that is causing. They will tell you it's ethnically motivated. Oh, the result is only manipulated in the north and not in the south. And there is no yardstick for me to confirm that. It's manipulated by men and not women. It's manipulated by this and not that. So because it is already immersed in that political quagmire, in that mess, it lets other mess to prosper in it. You get it? It lets other mess. It's like a Yoruba man that has been duped by another Yoruba man, but was told your problem why you cannot eat is because an Hausa man have stolen 6 billion naira. What correlation? If he feels happy and then later does not want to commit suicide, that his kinsman has duped him, just because somebody told him an Hausa man stole 60 billion naira, that it is that Hausa man that is problem. You get it? How do I explain that to him? Because they've refocused him. And it does happen even in government.
Well, the thing has happened when Shegun Daniel, my guest, said that he's having problem with his devices. I hope the 1999 device, I hope he has. His uncle will help him if he has money to change it. I think he's having problem with his devices. And I've mocked him many times with his devices that I hope he doesn't get arrested by the police, that his devices need to be replaced ASAP. So well, let me start to round up. If he comes back, fine. If not, I plan to bring him back again. Part of what I wanted to touch after the censor issue is the is the present situation where Yoruba project and and the campaigners found themselves. There was a declaration on the 28th of November by one of the campaigners, making it look like she has the AC, she knows what she's doing, and she has now officially declared a Yoruba nation. And in fact, she has the audacity, the guts to even be saying to the world that nobody can do anything about it. And I take that to be very, very insulting. Insulting not on our personalities or some of us who can read and write, but insulting in the common thinking faculties. That because she started in a way that she believes everybody very anxious to get Yoruba in the nation. And in fairness, I don't want to blame her because one of my erudite friends, who's a professor, said, and that is exactly what my nephew just said on this program, that we started in such a way we allowed some large number of illiterates to hijack this project. And because well, I've just been telling our viewers that I have
I'm,
issues with you and your device. I've been telling you that I hope you don't get arrested because your device need to be. And that's
I'm,
the problem of the
I'm, so-
economists. They
I'm
always
sorry.
see money. For some
I'm,
reason, eh?
I'm sorry about that interruption.
That's fine. Now,
It's a technical one here.
that's fine. That's fine. That's all for you. Now, quickly, let me round up because of the time. Shegun, you are aware that there's a kind of calamity discussion. I use that word. I deliberately choose my word. There have been problems in the Yoruba Nation camp. The campaigners that have been saying the anti-wamoto yẹn sínú kòtò ẹni kan ti wa mọ́tò sínú kòtò ìwé ìtì àdó ó ti gbá wa ó ti sọ oríṣiríṣi possible and not possible. So with all your understanding, with the little time you have been sharing to follow latest skinning, the last was that one of us made a declaration. Tell us a little bit about your understanding of how, whether that declaration is valid, whether that declaration made a lot of sense, whether there is nothing we can do anything anymore, and also whether that the second part of her declaration is to start to reclaim here and there. Tell us more quickly.
Interesting. I told you a couple of minutes ago that there are some of us who, for God knows, they just like the feel good atmosphere, the feel good effect. In the midst of problem, or even when problem is being brewed, they just want somebody to tell them what will sound right. Yeah. And maybe because of their own poor judgment or lack of judgment, decision-making processes, they tend to go along with seemingly funny caricature kind of characters. The idea of the Yoruba nation birth is a very noble one. For anyone to consider that Yoruba should have nationhood is a very noble cause. And it's a cause that should not be out of a struggle, agitation for trouble. It should be something that could be delivered on compromise, on the goodness and and forthright of those who can see through. And that's why I'm appalled that things have turned out the way they have. This character that you have mentioned to make a deposition about proclamation, reclamation, declaration, redeclaration, reabsorption, or renaming and all that, should have been envisaged even by those who are the major proponents of the Yoruba nation. Should have been envisaged that the ship Tangbele is an all-commerce ship where all manners of people are going to embark upon it. But how do we sustain and sanitize them on the continuity of what the goals and objectives are? I think that's where those who are proponents of Yoruba nation got it all wrong. There was, to me, I was never a core member. There was, to me, as I observe, or it appears to me, that there was no core strategic way of launching this project and bringing it safely to harbor.
Okay.
Yes.
That
And
would be having different kind of rookies, different kind
yes,
of.
there has to be a mechanism for continuous review, like one of your callers said, so as to stem the flow of this kind of characters. So as not, you can't chase them away. They are Nigerians, they are Yorubas. But to redirect, to reopen, to enlighten them of what it's all about. You see, then to reduce the fear. I told you some time ago, there was a case when Igboho, I learned they went to his home or something, wanted to arrest him there. One lady was saying, Yoruba nation, gbogbo ẹ̀yin 419, ẹ̀yin ọmọ Yahoo, ẹ máa bọ̀. We are going to that lady. That is what Yoruba nation stood for. It's a land of hooligan, a land of Yahoos, a land of liberty for lawless people. That is what it means. And you cannot blame her because she was not tutored, because she does not understand what it takes. Some people, Yoruba nation is about picking up sticks, cutlasses, and kill as many northerners as you can. It's not their fault. It's because they were not educated. They were not enlightened of what this project is about.
And you think that's having effect? That's now had a disastrous effect on the project?
Yes, it will. And that's why I said that will be the onus, the burden of that onus should be on those who convene this idea of you. Because if they do not put those in place earlier on, they did not envisage such threats or challenges. You get it? That is, and they are capable of derailing the program. You get it?
Causing more havoc, more damage.
Just as Bola Ige told us, we are Nigerians, but we are foremost Yoruba. That's your constituency. You get it? Just like an Hausa man too. That has been the way it is in Nigeria. And that's why I still see Nigerian case in all of this. But then, when it got broken down, it's like you ask me, who are you? I come from a family, but I have my own family too. You get it? That's the way it is. I won't lose that identity. I'm a Nigerian, but I'm a Yoruba. I'm proud of the same heritage that I share as Yoruba and I share as a Nigerian. That identity runs through. So this kind of character, and it's not going to be only her, there will be those Because I can tell you what she did, she might not, most of us might consider it as she's ridiculous, she's not educated, but she has proven something. If she was motivated, I'm not saying that it is, she was motivated by monetary gain, she probably have gotten it. If she was motivated by fame, she probably have gotten it. You get it? If whatever could have been her motivation or reason, she probably have achieved some of them. You get it? And yet putting in jeopardy the major cause. You get me?
Yeah.
And there will those who will emulate it, who will think, you know what? If this woman could do it and get away with 8 million naira, what makes me not? If it is to boo Baba Akintoye, to boo Buhari, is what is going to make me money, why not do it? So if we're still not waking up to our guard, we're going to see 16 million types of this woman.
Right. We're going to see 16 million more of this woman.
Yes, who are going to emerge in different colors, in different ways. Yes, because there will be those who see that, yes, she made some gains out of this. I don't care what it is, as long as I can get those gains too.
Olusegun Oseni, I have to stop you, unfortunately, because the problem is the time. And like I said, I promise most of all our viewers in this new year, 1st of January 2020, that's 1923, whatever.
So can I have 5 minutes? I just quickly want to say something.
Well, let me ask 5 minutes. I'm sure my viewers, they'll be too happy to grant that your request. And I want to use this opportunity again, please. If anybody wants to ask something, ask a question, call in to ask my guest, Daniel Olusegun Oseni. Yeah. He's my nephew, he's my son, he's my everything. When I say he's my son, that is African way, but true is my nephew. True. Go on.
Okay. My proposal, Yoruba Nation is still alive. It can be revamped. It can succeed. It can be birthed. But my proposition for it is this. Let's not divide ourselves further. For now, those of us who are agitating for Yoruba Nation are not in the political column. We should exert ourselves in the political column. That's one.
Okay.
2, even at the political columns are of now, Yoruba State should begin an activity of commercial integration. Let us see the prosperity we want to see in that nation begins to happen now. Let the Yoruba State, 5 or 6, whatever, how cooperative we can find them, let us begin to see the synergy of their energy.
Okay.
That these states, as they were, because we're going to be a binding bloc, we're not going to end the Yoruba Nation that Lagos want to pull out of, or we get a Yoruba Nation that Oyo says I'm not part of. That will be another level of trouble. So right now, let us know that as meager as the resources, is one of the hallmark that we say, in fact, it's one of the beckoning call that is making people to say that we look back into the Western region. Let us rebuild, in spite of the borders of the state, that Western region. Yes, as it is now. Let us see that it can prosper. We cannot say we are leaving poverty into a land that we will hit just like that. Let us see that, yes, it can work. I don't want Nigerian case, Yoruba case, to be like that of South Sudan. A nation birthed from day one plunged itself into civil war. I mean, these are people who said we want to be out of Sudan. They came out of Sudan, and they said we don't want to be with ourselves again. Does that make sense?
And they start fighting each other.
Yes.
All
and
right.
It has not ended. We cannot say that that cannot happen. So let us begin to see it now, even while we are within Nigeria.
Okay,
That
I'm sorry. I know you asked for 5 minutes, but then again, every time I'm not trying to rush you. I'm just trying to work according to the timetable. I'm the even though I'm the editor, I'm the all this what you can
even
find
those
this.
who do not believe in that nationhood, that will inspire them that the Yoruba part, in spite of the meager resources that they have shown this transformation.
Is that the same thing you are trying to say, that when some people say "Ta ló rán wa níṣẹ́," some Yoruba people are saying "Ta ló rán yín níṣẹ́"?
No, actually, today maybe I had somebody who said látẹ̀ní èmi gan support Yoruba nation mọ́. To tell you that, to me, just indicated that any tó ń fúnra ẹ̀ nígbà tó support gan does not understood what that nationhood was about. So that person was carried away by the troubles of this caricature character tí mo sọ. Yes, that is it. It's because if you do know what nationhood is about, incident woman, you will know that it's a distraction to the goal. You get it? You remain steadfast. And Onimoyesekpe is still the problem of the leadership of those who truly want it too. That means their impact in that communication was not impactful.
Okay.
I want to believe in that nation, because little thing happen now, it's just a little storm in the cup. And that person said, I'm abandoning this ship. That means from outset, you really do not have a clear vision. You are probably just a bandwagoner. Yes, you two was just dancing to it. For instance, if we have said this Yoruba nation is a generational issue, it might not take us 10 years, it might not take us 15 years, it might not take us 20 years, but gradually we want to do it in this form. Politically, we will have ourselves as a voice in the House of Nigerian Parliament. Developmentally, we will work cooperatively within the territories that are Yorubas. Yes, you get it. We will begin to see those transformations. We will begin to notice those changes, and it might even be an envy to those who you consider as opponent to your ideals. Those from the Arewa who will say, look how this place is developed. They are working cooperatively. Things are working. Why can't we have the same? And that will stir up that agitation there too. You get it? But this confrontational thing is stemming from just simple belief that it's only one side that is cheating the rest of us. And I've told you that even at that belief is, what has that one side show for it? The majority of our people are enjoying this buffet. Lastly, sir, it's a dangerous trend. If Yoruba feel that Yoruba nation will prosper, if they come out of Nigeria violently, and the Arewa or Biafra will suffer, and then they will fold their arms and just watch the prosperity of the Yoruba nation. They should have a rethink. They must have.
You are saying now.
They must have something else coming. I'm telling you. Somebody cannot sit in the north and say, you know what? I take to God that I have to die for not eating. And see someone in south throwing foods away, having babies who are well nourished. I'm telling you, you have one sleep high to sleep.
Yeah, are you not
No,
bringing religion into all this? Because most of what you are saying,
nobody will be able to sleep. So why not cultivate a path where everybody will be in progress? Yes, I rest my case.
well, thank you very much. Cultivate a part, an arrangement, a way, a modalities where we know that our target is to get our nation, but then we need to come up with formalities and arrangements to do it in such a way that, number one, to reduce the possibility of bloodshed, to also have a focus that we can still do it. Shegun, again, I want to thank you very much. But can you tell my viewers that after wishing them Happy New Year again, that you will be fully prepared to come again and again? I can imagine that there's still more. And then next time you come here, I hope by the time you'll have gotten a new device that will my schedule. Because some people are phoning, can you nephew in kilo sheton shebang? You know, I can understand. Some they are indirectly booing me. But I'm the device. And worry. I'm not all that rich, but then again, he understands. Thank you very much, Shegun.
You're welcome.
Let me just give you 2 minutes final word. Then I have to then go.
Yeah, to all Nigerians, local and abroad, and all humanity watching this program, I thank my uncle for this opportunity to share my ideas regarding various issues we have discussed. And I wish all of you a happy new year. It should be a year of success for us. But success doesn't fall in place. I'm a believer, I'm a Christian, I believe in miracle. But I believe you walk with faith.
Thank
So
you.
yeah.
So, viewers, and gbogbo ẹ̀yin olólùfẹ́ Ọ̀túnba Who Latest, òun lẹ ti gbọ́ yẹn. I started the new year with my own person, my own son, my own nephew to come and talk to you. So at least you can see we from the house of Apollo, and cannot be nobody can just easily want to play, games with us. And I'm very proud to say that, and I mean it, because finally I want to say that what only three people have mentioned her name many times today, what people have been talking about her is 100% correct. She drove this vehicle to a ditch. She messed up big time. And there was a time I was unable to talk. And there was also a time that I think I started by asking her questions. Pay 5 million, and I don't think that was too much. And some people who couldn't understand the module operandi of this project started calling me names. It doesn't bother me. Now you have seen it. Udaro, bye-bye. Thank you very much, Shegun.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Bye-bye.